Dan Illman here with the DRF race of the day for Wednesday, September the 20th. It's race number 3 at Assiniboia Downs. Our first level allowance for 3-year-old fillies going 3/4 of a mile. Let's take a peek at this field. Please scan or click the QR code for race of the day access on mobile, which includes free Formulator Pass performances. It is closing evening at the Downs. You know what that means. Mandatory payouts on multiple race, single race wagers with carryover potential. Of course, that means the 20-cent ASD Jackpot Pick 5. Race number 3 is the first leg of the Jackpot Pick 5. Now, going into Monday evening's card at the Downs, the Jackpot Pick 5 carryover was already at $112,000. If no one scoops the pool Monday or Tuesday night, there's going to be a huge carryover going into closing evening Wednesday, and it all must go with a mandatory payout. Of course, on Wednesday evening at the Downs, there'll be the popular $1 Pick 4 wager. The last 4 races on the card, $50,000 guaranteed pool, mandatory payout as well in the $1 Classic High 5 in race number 7. This race again kicks off the Jackpot Pick 5 with the mandatory payout on closing evening. We take a look at the Timeform US pace projector. The 2 Island High is very fast out of the gate. She's going to be a pace presence. The 6 I've Got All Night is going to be a very strong pace presence, breaking from the outside post. Those 2 horses figure to be on the lead. Those 2 figure to be prominent turning into the stretch, and maybe I've Got All Night's got the better current form. She could be in front when the real racing begins. We'll start things off with the number 1 Catch the Dream, who's also cross-entered on Monday evening in a much tougher spot. The Manitoba Matron for older horses going 1 1/8. She obviously fits better here. Here's her most recent start, a maiden special weight against the boys, and what's notable about this race is it's her first start off an 11-month layoff. Now, we hadn't seen her since she was stakes placed at Century Mile as a 2-year-old. She obviously showed no rust off the layoff, was plenty fit, able to survive a little bit of an early pace duel, kept on going to pull off the upset. She has some talent, she has some upside potential. She's probably going to try to tuck in down in behind the leaders early in this race. The 2 and the horse on the outside, the 6 likely to go. Expect Catch the Dream to be in a pretty decent spot. She'll need a bit of a buyer boost, not out of the question. She's so lightly raced. The 2 is Island High, one of the expected pace setters. She went gate to wire 3 starts back. Her 2 races against winners, however, kind of carbon copies of each other. She's shown speed both times. She's tired both times after getting hooked up in a duel. And if she hooks up with the 6 horse in here, it might be a similar story. I'm expecting pace from Island High, but based on the last 2 races when she faced pressure, I'm concerned about her lasting. The 3 is Lady Cop, and she's the horse to beat. She's won 5 times in her career. She has plenty of back figures that make her competitive, and she had a troubled trip last time out when she was the beaten favorite. She was only beaten a length that day. She was down on the inside. She was up close relatively to a pretty fast pace that day. So just a lot of things conspired against Lady Cobb. This time around, she's likely to get a good trip against a more comfortable pace scenario, and if she gets clear, she's going to be very dangerous. She's a deserving favorite in the first leg of the 20-cent ASD Jackpot Pick 5. Let's watch Russian Pearl, who beat Lady Cop last time out. You're going to notice Lady Cop's down inside. She's going to have a little bit of trouble. Everything went right for Russian Pearl. She is a 1-run closer in these sprint distances. They went an opening quarter in 22-1, fast enough to set things up for Russian Pearl, and she got to the outside and in the clear, and she is able to get it done. I've Got All Night was on the lead in this race. She ends up finishing second. Lady Cop down on the rail, some might argue, was best because she was compromised by the way the race was run and the trip that she had. That being said, Russian Pearl's an admirably consistent horse. She was 6 times second going into the most recent start, so it was nice to see her get a victory. You're a bit concerned that she's the kind of filly at these shorter distances that needs a setup and needs a trip, but in the form she's in right now, I would expect another powerful late kick. Olive's Candy exits a key race. That was a non-winners of 2 life, but she also finished behind a couple of these in this spot, and Olive's Candy has had a little bit of trouble down on the inside on the backstretch. You might want to forgive that performance, and if you do, you go back to a race 2 back. She was in the Manitoba Oaks going 2 turns. She ran a fine second at a big price. She showed speed that day. She's more of a stalker in sprint distances, as we saw 3 starts back in a 2 life allowance where she finished 3rd. Olive's Candy, I think, is a little bit better than she looks on paper, but she is going to have to improve, again, from a speed figure standpoint against this pretty solid group. I've Got All Night, we saw run a good second last time out. She carved out a legitimate pace before being run down by Russian Pearl. She might not have to work as hard to get forward in here. She likely will be sitting either off of the number 2 or outright on the lead. And if she turns for home with a bit of a breather, she might have enough in the tank to perhaps pull off a bit of a mild upset. She's another horse, very lightly raced. We likely have not seen the best of I've Got All Night yet. It's all about whether she can get a little bit of a breather on the backstretch and into the turn. Before we get to my top selections, please click the subscribe button on the Daily Racing Form YouTube channel for the latest DRF videos. Top pick time for our Wednesday race of the day. First leg of the jackpot, pick 5. Mandatory payout on closing evening at the Downs. Lady Cop's the horse to beat. I wonder if Russian Pearl's going to get another setup in here. I think the 2 and the 6 at least are going to go. Lady Cop's going to get the jump turning into the stretch. Russian Pearl, I like the way she kicked. She did get the setup last time out. I like the way she kicked on home, and she'll be a slightly better price over Lady Cop again. So she'll be my top selection in our Wednesday race of the day, race number 3, closing night, Assiniboia Downs. Good luck.